Hello and welcome Universe Mode. This is Friday Night Smackdown, the final episode of Smackdown, of course, in the 2K17 series. We are here in Newark, New Jersey, 2 nights away from No Way Out. And while for the majority of the Smackdown brand it isn't that important of a night, for two men it is the end of an era, essentially. And for Smackdown itself, it can be seen as the end of an era as well. Tonight, we will see, well actually right away, as you can see there, we will hear from the WWE Champion, Kyle O'Reilly, who speaks about this Sunday, speaks about his final match with Bobby Fish, and speaks about it being in Hell in a Cell. It was revealed during the week, it was discussed and has been made official that while this is the only SmackDown match on the card, it is the main event. There was no other choice comparable to belong in that main event spot. On the very event that Bobby Fish turned his back on Kyle O'Reilly, it is going to be the final meeting between these two men. And it's almost a somber thing, but I cannot wait to watch one final war between them. But it's not over for Kyle O'Reilly. It is not all done for him here tonight, because in the main event he's going to go one-on-one with the Intercontinental Champion Kenny Omega in what promises to be a very entertaining contest, if you ask me. Champion against champion. Omega, who retained his Intercontinental Championship last week over Rusev, looking to continue on his winning streak. We'll see if he can do it over the champion tonight, who may well be flustered with the thoughts of what will transpire this Sunday and that Hell in a Cell match. That maintains to be seen, but as for right now, O'Reilly's itching at the chance to have something to say. So without further ado, the floor belongs to O'Reilly. Well, here he comes, the champion towards the ring, and as I said, you know, he can hardly wait to head towards the ring in what could be Kyle O'Reilly's final SmackDown as WWE Champion, and what could be, if that is the case, it could well be a long time before he holds that belt again. This Sunday, as I said, the final meeting between these two men, but O'Reilly doesn't seem to be too shaken up by that thought process yet. And right off the bat, O'Reilly talking about last week and how Shane McMahon isn't here tonight, but the SmackDown committee is still rolling on without him. As much as he respects Shane and the work he's done, he knows that when you get in the face of Bobby Fish, you want to punch that man's lights out. And he doesn't blame Shane for what he did, but he knew that Shane made a mistake. O'Reilly getting a little comical in that regard. To be fair, talking about how there's only one man who's allowed to punch Bobby Fish in the face, and punch him again and again and again till he bleeds, and then punch where he bled to make sure that he will not be able to see through all the blood on his face, and that is Kyle O'Reilly. And if you want to talk about bloodshed, well, you're going to want to pay attention to this Sunday. Is the somber tone, I guess you could say, of Kyle O'Reilly. I talked about it earlier, 24 months, 2 years ago, almost to the day, that Kyle O'Reilly was betrayed by someone he thought he could trust, someone he saw as a brother. Well, no longer will he let that go on. No longer does that bog him down. This Sunday, he does not fight his brother, he fights a prick who left him for dead. But when it's all said and done, when the dust has been settled, it will not be Kyle O'Reilly who has been left for dead. There is a reason why they're in a cell. There is a reason why they are confined to that structure. They were meant to do this forever. They were meant to battle for the rest of time. But in that hellish structure, only one man can escape. Only one man can stand tall. And Bobby Fish, it will not be you. Kyle O'Reilly is going to kill what he helped create at No Way Out. And if it means going to the very depths of hell to do it, he has no worries about that. O'Reilly, not a man worrying, but a man in the zone. And I mean, you gotta give credit where credit's due to Kyle O'Reilly. This is one of, if not the biggest match of his career. He knows what he's putting on the line here. He knows he's putting so much at stake in one final match with Bobby Fish, but it doesn't slip from his mind. It doesn't change anything in his regard. Kyle O'Reilly is ready. He's waited 2 years to end this, essentially, and this Sunday at No Way Out, locked inside Hell in a Cell, it will end. And not, you know, for a few months as we've seen before. It won't continue on in the background. This time it's done for good. This time it'll be all over. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing that final match. I'd also like to apologize ahead of time if I seem completely devoid of giving any emotion. Your boy managed like a dickhead to get really filled up with a cold despite walking about 20 seconds in the rain last night. So shout out to me there for being a dickhead. But here tonight, we're not going to focus on me being ill because that's not what we're here to focus on. We are here to chat some shit about Smackdown. And we're going to start things off with this one-on-one matchup here with, of course, the oh god. With the new series of Universe just around the corner, with the chance for new talents to stand out. Smackdown's looking at some of its more lesser featured talents who have been around shit for a little while now. The likes of John Cena and Damien Sandow, who are going one-on-one, as we can see here, to kick things off on Friday Night Smackdown. Cena, who, well, the last time he did anything successful, or came anywhere near doing anything successful, was about, what, 10 months ago when he took on Fish for the WWE Championship at TLC. And of course we know what the result of that one was. Bobby Fish retained his title. Cena failed to cash in his Money in the Bank on him. And since then it's just been a tough time for the leader of the C Nation, but there is a chance here tonight for him to get things a little bit back on track. He's just got to try and go through Damien Sandow, a man who, whenever he gets in that ring, possesses that kind of natural hunger to him. So it'll be interesting to see how we get things underway here. But I want to go back for a second before this match gets underway and talk about Fish and O'Reilly's perspective. If you didn't see SmackDown last week, which even though it wasn't, you know, the biggest show in history, it was still a huge night for that. If you want to watch just one thing from it, I've got to say, you've got to go watch the standoff between Shane McMahon and Paul Heyman at the end of that show. It was heated, it was personal, it was intense, and it just went to show how Bobby Fish really will stoop to any level just to have the final say. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm still a little bit. I mean, when I think about it, I'm still reeling a little bit from it. It was a very eventful moment to see Bobby Fish hit a fish hook onto just a member of management, onto a man who has done nothing wrong to him in the ring. Yes, Shane did punch Heyman, but he was did punch Fish, but he was essentially provoked at that point and had nothing else he could have done. So it was a tough night, I guess, for SmackDown. It was a tough night for Shane McMahon, but you know, they made it official. That Hell in a Cell match this Sunday to end the feud finally between Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. And I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for it, as I said. I'm ready for it, but I'm scared in a way for what SmackDown will do heading out of it. These are these are, I would argue, two of its biggest superstars who have been at each other's throats for 2 years. How will SmackDown be able to survive after it? How will it just be able to go back to normal and continue on after what transpires at that event? I don't know, but we'll just have to maintain and find out. Bobby Fish is here tonight, but he refused to compete, arguing that, well, I say argue, he threatened to send the Dangerous Alliance on the rest of the SmackDown committee and to make sure that no one was in charge at any time, so Bobby Fish could wreak havoc. He's here tonight. I know he's here tonight. I've seen the Dangerous Alliance. I've seen him and Heyman walking around backstage. They are here, so don't be surprised if when Kyle O'Reilly's in that main event, we magically see the involvement of Bobby Fish in some regard. Not going to be much of a surprise when it does happen. But we focus back on this matchup right now. Cena and Sandow have been having a little bit of a back and forth. There was the elbow of disdain hit by Sandow, and it looks as if he's going to look for Terminus here. Going to try and go for it, looking for it in a very different fashion, to be fair. Oh, that was a sneeze. But Cena counted his way out of it fairly quickly, and now John Cena's in position, ready to claim victory maybe here on SmackDown. Loads it up, 5-knuckle shuffle for Sandow. And it's not the end yet for Damien Sandow, because here it comes. Attitude adjustment by Cena into the cover to finish this one off. Sandow kicks out at 2. But Cena isn't done yet. Look at him. He just stays on the focal point. Oh my god! The strength of Cena there. Lifting Sandow up as if he's nothing for a second. Attitude adjustment by John Cena. Into the cover he goes with 1, 2, 3. That one had to seal it. John Cena wins in emphatic fashion as well. 2 attitude adjustments for Sandow to deal with. And this could be, once again, the re-emergence of John Cena. The man's still looking for his first title in this universe. Perhaps he can find it at some point. And with victories like this, if the Smackdown committee is able to realize his ability, and he's able to keep the consistency going, things may be looking up for John Cena. But there we go, a good start to SmackDown, I guess. I mean, we've already had a heated words from Kyle O'Reilly, and we've had a nice little one-on-one contest to get us underway. But there we go, as John Cena continuously celebrates his win right now. We're going to be moving on to our next contest, tag team action. The team who were unsuccessful in challenging the WWE Tag Team titles at Battleground MKULTRA will take on the #1 contenders for the tag team titles in Future Shock. Kota Ibushi, of course, and Ricochet. And in regards to this tag team matchup, of course, there is kind of a great deal of kind of, I guess, cause for concern, I guess you could say, regarding Future Shock, because as we've been seeing over these last few weeks, there's something up with Kevin Owens. We don't know what it is, but over these last 2 weeks, he has been acting in a completely different fashion. He's essentially shunned Future Shock for these last few weeks, which is ironic because he worked so hard to build them up when they were in their struggling points and when they weren't getting to their pinnacle. And around the time when they have a chance to become a #1 contenders, Owens just shrugs them off and just pushes them aside, essentially, just so he could focus on the WWE Championship, which he went on to lose, and then as a way of taking out his revenge last week, attacked Finn Balor, which made no sense at all. I don't know what the mind process of Kevin Owens is. Future Shock doesn't know it either. They're just as confused by it, and they just want to know, why is Kevin Owens acting this way? He wants to talk about leading in the future of SmackDown. Then why have they suddenly been abandoned by the 4-time WWE Champion? It makes no sense to them, and they're not ready. They don't know what to do right now. They've got a big title match against the Young Bucks coming up in a few weeks' time. They've got to prepare for, and now all of a sudden, their leader, their man who was supposed to guide them to the titles, has abandoned them just before their big moment. But at the same time, Future Shock have said it is not going to shun them, it is not going to scare them. They are still just as focused and just as maintained as ever, ready to put their mindset and put their focus onto taking those titles away from the Young Bucks and to giving the Elite a night to remember when they take those tag team titles away from them. So still, confidence, I guess you could say, oozing within Future Shock, and they have every right to feel that way. They've been picking up big wins recently. Of course, they defeated the Revival at Battleground last week. Kota Ibushi defeated Jay Lethal in a hard-fought one-on-one matchup. Certainly a whole lot of good going the way of Future Shock right now, and they want to continue it on. Well, here tonight, of course, they've got a tough order in MKULTRA. 2 teams formed around the same time. So I guess you could say both got the same level of experience working together as a tag team. And let's see what will transpire as a result of it. Ricochet starting things off against Raven here. Raven able to take him down there in an armbar. Ricochet may well be in a little bit of trouble here. Caught in an awkward position right next to the ropes as well. Nowhere really for him to go. And that arm was bent back pretty damn far by Raven. But it's not the arms that you should worry about of Ricochet. It's those legs, it's those kicks, and it's his ability to run as fast as he can. That is what makes the former Cruiserweight Champion such a dangerous athlete. Northern Lights suplex, and right away, Ricochet going to go up to the top rope here. Oh, corkscrew moonsault. What a maneuver early on there from Ricochet. Cover here on Raven, and it's a 2 count already. Didn't think I'd be seeing a corkscrew moonsault of all things this early on in the match. Raven in trouble already. Ricochet making life incredibly difficult for the leader of MKULTRA. Sunset flip powerbomb there to the outside. Right from the start, this is Future Shock showing, perhaps sending a message to Kevin Owens. You know, you may have turned your back on us, but maybe it's for the best. Maybe we didn't need you. Even if they're saying they want to know why, maybe that doesn't necessarily mean they want him back. Tag made here. Ricochet and Ibushi in position. Hurricanrana powerbomb combo. Thing of beauty there. Into the cover. Okay then, Luke Harper. Goes Ibushi and a kick out of 2. Oh, and Ibushi, they went for a follow-up, but it was quickly countered. Ricochet flung over the top rope there as if he were nothing by the big man that is Luke Harper. And a spine buster by Raven. And there's his opening to tag in Luke Harper, the former United States champion. And he uses his strength right off the bat to fling Ibushi across the ring as if he were nothing. This is where things start to get dangerous now, and this is where Future Shock are in a measure of trouble. It doesn't look as if Ibushi's that scared of him right now. Looks as if if Ibushi wants to think tactically, he's going to have to try and use his speed to his advantage, but Harper with a keen eye, able to catch it out in that regard, pull off the counter there. And now what will we see from Luke Harper? We won't see anything. It'll be Ibushi pulling off a powerful suplex there to Harper. It's a man who, of course, we have seen powerbomb the likes of Roman Reigns as well, so he knows it. He knows he's got the power within him, despite being a cruiserweight. Harper, though, is really making life difficult for Ibushi. Every time Ibushi counters something, Harper just floors him back down to the mat right away. Hurricanrana there, though, by Ibushi, and he's able to connect with something. Maybe time for Ibushi to get things going here, but it seems as if it's... Oh, he wanted the tag there, but Luke Harper not interested in that. Ibushi flips out, beautifully done, lands on his feet, and back in the corner goes Harper. Tag made here. Let's see what will happen. Ricochet, the legal man, and an elbow into the back there of Luke Harper. Kind of smart tactic there. Makes it harder for Harper to stand upright if his back is in pain. Although Harper, to be fair, has probably felt an incredible amount of pain throughout his life. And instead of just being used to it, maybe Harper welcomes it more than anything. Ricochet now showing off his strength. Bit of a cradle shock there by Ricochet. And he's staying on the money here. Rather than looking for something ambitious on the... trying to stay ambitious on the ground. Ricochet looked for an inverted 450 there, and he paid for it. Harper with a strong counter. And now this man is just starting to take control over Ricochet. Flung him away there with that back suplex. This is exactly what Raven wants from him. To dominate to dominate this man and make life easier for him. Dumped on his face there as if he were nothing. Going after the legs now, trying to ground Ricochet. And take... Oh my god, that didn't work. Ricochet out of that one immediately. Beautiful counter there. Pele kick by Ricochet. This could be a great opening for a Future Shock here. And I hope the Young Bucks are paying attention. Oh my goodness. I was about to say, I hope the Young Bucks are paying attention to how they work, because they can change a match around in a heartbeat, but so can the power of Luke Harper. Looking for that discus clothesline maybe, but Ricochet counters his way out of it. Sends Harper into the turnbuckle here. We've seen this a lot more over the last few weeks. Taking a page out of Red Dragon's book. In position, up in the air, the roundhouse kick and the brainbuster. And that one should seal it. Raven with a count on the outside, but there's a cover on Harper. Raven doesn't get in quick enough. Future Shock are your winners. That one was close, to be fair. Inches away from Raven making the save. But Ricochet's, I guess, did the job that was necessary. He distracted Raven for long enough. Future Shock pick up the win. And the Young Bucks have to be aware that sooner rather than later they're going to be meeting this team for those tag team titles, and as geared up and as fired up as they're looking right now, it might be a tall order to retain those titles. I mean, I hope not, because, Bullet Club, and I want to see the Elite succeed, but on SmackDown keep things a little less biased, and I can admit that this is a strong team for sure. We're going to head into our next contest now. I believe we've seen this match before. If not, it is... no, I think we have seen this match before between these two men. Coming up next, a man who's still not as explained his actions, but is willing to fight anyone. Kevin Owens will take on a man who is always willing to fight anyone, anywhere, at any time. That man is Cesaro. That's up next. Well, here he comes. I'm not too sure what kind of reaction he'll get because there's still doubts surrounding this guy. No one truly knows where this guy lies, what this guy is doing anymore, why he's doing it. There's just no knowledge. Kevin Owens heads towards the ring here to do battle with Cesaro. Of course, Owens over these last 2 weeks has taken a real pride in just taking out opponents just for the sake of it. It was Kyle O'Reilly 2 weeks ago, and it was this man last week, and he has come to get revenge. Finn Balor is making his way out, and suddenly Newark erupted into cheers at the sight of the leader of the Balor Club. Here goes Finn Balor now, trying to get revenge for last week on Kevin Owens. He was he was package pile driven into this steel ramp, and Finn Balor is here to exact revenge for it. Here goes Balor now, pummeling away into Kevin Owens, and you've got to commend him for it. You've got to give him credit where credit's due. This takes a lot of balls to do, especially in the current, I guess you could say, mood of Kevin Owens. Finn Balor, though, has never been one to back down from a challenge. Finn Balor has never been afraid of anything or anyone. And even if he is afraid, he's got his old friend in the Demon to come out and help him. Balor and Owens just brawling here early on. Doesn't seem as if there's going to be any involvement of Cesaro in this one. There may well have all been a ruse to try and get Finn Balor in the ring with this man. Balor runs in the ring just so it seems people can have a better view of it, because he's not exactly going to be locking in any rest holds anytime soon. He is just beating into this man right now. Stomps, kicks, and whatever else he can think of off the top of his head. These are two former world champions just colliding with one another just because of what Kevin Owens has been doing recently in position. Bloody hell by Balor. Flattens down Kevin Owens and leaves him in position for a measure of revenge from last week. Finn Balor in position, ready to strike. Coup de grace to Kevin Owens. That is a very much receipt for last week. Keep the change, Kevin Owens, because Finn Balor's got a few more things he wants to get off his chest. Well, Finn Balor isn't too afraid, it seems, to open his mouth in this regard, and he's on about last week. He doesn't know why Kevin Owens is doing what he's doing along with the rest of the roster, but it doesn't make a difference to Finn Balor. If Kevin Owens wants to get in the face of the former world champion, so be it, but you had better come prepared for a fight with Finn Balor. Even if, regardless of if Owens respects Balor or not, it doesn't matter to Finn Balor. You strike him from behind, you package pile drive him on the stage, and you've got something to pay for in that regard. You deserve to pay for what you did. Kevin Owens is not just screwing over himself. He's not just screwing over SmackDown. He's screwing over Future Shock as well. He will not stand for any of this. If Kevin Owens needs some sense smacked into him, Finn Balor will gladly do it. You don't pick a fight with a demon and expect to come out on top. An ominous warning from Finn Balor about a good friend of his who could come out to play at any time. Finn Balor gets revenge for last week, but this one is far from over. Well, if Kevin Owens wants a fight, there is certainly someone who's willing to step up to the plate right here, right now, and at any time, really, in Finn Balor. Do not be surprised if in the prize fighter's current condition, he takes up Finn Balor on that offer, and yep, I've got very little more I can say, because before this match can get underway, the women's champion has decided that she can't be bothered to wait for an entrance to be performed, and she has rushed into the ring here to do battle with Ivory right away. Well, never mind, forget what I was going to say, because this one's underway here. This women's match involving Winter, the first time we've seen her since her controversial title retention back at Battleground. Incredible doubt over her retaining the title. Myself and some others pointing to the fact that, well, Becky Lynch's arm, or hand even, was gripped onto the ropes when the 3 count was struck. So the referee should have called for the rope break, but didn't. And as a result of that, Winter retained her title. There is no confirmation as to yet whether or not there will be a rematch between the two women. There, without a doubt, should be in my mind. I don't think there's anyone else who can come close right now in the SmackDown Women's Division to challenging Winter successfully and getting as close as Becky Lynch has. Ivory, for a little bit of time, was certainly looking to be one of those people. But she kind of slipped away when Becky Lynch decided to re-emerge her career on SmackDown in her attempt to get face-to-face with her rival again. And now, even though they teamed up 2 weeks ago in a losing effort, Winter has taken out her anger on Ivory for everything that's transpired, it seems. She is pummeling into the poor woman right now. I don't think Ivory expected. I mean, Ivory, you know, she had to realize she was in for a beating, but I don't think she realized she was in for one quite like this. Drive-by kick by Winter, and the women's champion already wanting to end this one in position, set up Winter with Winter's Wrath, and that one, this one's over already. Cover on Ivory here with 1, 2, 3. Winter, Jesus Christ, dominates her way to another victory. Is there nothing that this women's champion won't do in order to prove that she is the most dominant in history? Coming close to beating her own record at this point. We'll see if she's going to be able to do it, because Becky Lynch, I think, is the one woman in the way of stopping her from achieving just that. Not much more I can say, to be honest, on this one, because Winter just destroyed poor Ivory to pick up the win. Well, there we go. That's the last women's match of 2K17. Oh, no, it's not. We got No Way. We got the triple threat and No Way Out. Ignore that. That's the last SmackDown women's match of 2K17. But we're going to move on now to our main event, which hopefully will be a little bit longer than this one. Coming up next, Kenny Omega against Kyle O'Reilly. Champion against champion. And what could be O'Reilly's final match as WWE champion before No Way Out, of course. Let's get into it. Alright, well, I mean, a lot of things have happened, okay? And I haven't had time to condense them all in my mind. I mean, we've got Finn Balor and Kevin Owens on the verge of having a little bit of a tussle between those two. We just had Winter decimating Ivory without me even having time to talk about a lot of the match, or any of the match practically. And now we've got the main event to contend with, which of course involves champion versus champion Kenny Omega and the WWE champion Kyle O'Reilly. Of course, Omega, as I said, last week on SmackDown retained his Intercontinental Championship against Rusev. It was a hard-fought contest between the two, and it may well have been Omega's toughest test as champion. And yes, of course, he took on Shinsuke Nakamura just 5 days earlier at Battleground for that title. So that is 100% saying something in that regard. But the leader of the Elite, the leader of SmackDown's Bullet Club, is doing a mighty fine job of leading the way right now. It is tough to tell who is coming after Kenny Omega's Intercontinental Championship next. Will it be John Cena, maybe, after what we saw earlier tonight? Will it be CM Punk, maybe, after his victory over the Beast? Or is he going to wait until after No Way Out to decide what he wants to do next? Is there going to be someone else on this roster that we haven't thought about yet? Well, certainly a good amount of doubt surrounding the Intercontinental Championship, and I think that's what makes it interesting. Omega cannot envision who his #1 contender is going to be, so he's got to keep his eyes out for everyone, which should be a very, very fun job indeed. But here comes the champion. Here comes the man who is 2 days away from ending the biggest rivalry of his career, from ending a tumultuous time with the WWE, with the rival sworn, essentially, he was sworn to do battle with for his entire career. Kyle O'Reilly heads towards the ring ready to fight Kenny Omega here in what could be his final SmackDown as WWE Champion, but what will for sure be his final SmackDown when he's got where he has to worry about what Bobby Fish could do. What will the champion, what will the WWE Champion even be able to pull off here tonight in this matchup against Kenny Omega? We will find out in just a moment's time. This one promises to be a very, very interesting main event. I'm ready for this one. Let's see what will happen here. Bell rings and we're underway. Omega and O'Reilly. Who can get the win here? Colin Lebo tie up in the corner at first, and Omega, is he going to give a... Oh, no, of course he's not. But Cena working in his own little secretive way. Well, not really secretive way, but his own little manipulative way, trying to goad O'Reilly into making a mistake early on. And if anything, he fired up O'Reilly with some knees there and a big double knee facebuster. O'Reilly is now pummeling away into the Intercontinental Champion to get things underway here, but Omega quick to counter, quick to fight back. Let's see what will happen here. Now, in the corner we go. Oh my goodness. Flying bum tackle by Kenny Omega in midair there, and now Omega looking to continue on here with something. Great counter by O'Reilly to get out of it. Punches in the face. O'Reilly is free, and now the WWE Champion can explode away with a few strikes. Let's see what will happen here. The Intercontinental Champion in a lot of trouble early on. Kenny Omega failed to get a lot of offense in here, and O'Reilly's making him pay for it. Northern Lights suplex. Kenny Omega needs to do something, and fast, if he wants to try and get a huge victory for his career and really throw Kyle O'Reilly off the beacon path ahead of this Sunday. Omega spinning kick in the gut there. Caught that one nice and on the money. And now, the Intercontinental Champion unable to capitalize. O'Reilly missed his drop kick. Reverse Hurricanrana. And O'Reilly goes down. Now it's the Turner of the Cleaner to perhaps take control in this one. Will he be able to get the powerbomb this time? Oh, it's not going to be a powerbomb. It's going to be the Styles Clash from Kenny Omega. Into the cover right after it. Only a 1 count. And O'Reilly right back up to his feet as well, and right back into the swing of things with countering. Essentially a page turner there by O'Reilly. If you're going to steal from greatness, you might as well take it from arguably the greatest women's wrestler in the world today. O'Reilly going after the arm here of Kenny Omega, trying to take away a whole boatload of things really from Kenny Omega. I mean, and of course to help soften him up for the arm bar, or the cross arm breaker, should O'Reilly look to lock that one in. But Omega not interested there as he hits a harsh neck breaker down onto the WWE Champion. Good counter there by O'Reilly and Omega. Kind of a stalemate between the two parties right now as this one continues on. Thrown over the top rope here and to the outside. O'Reilly getting a little bit more vicious right now. What's he going to do here? Is he going to fly? Is he going to take flight from the apron here? Indeed he is! Hurricanrana by Kyle O'Reilly. Didn't think I'd be seeing that one from O'Reilly, but my goodness, was that a surprising one to say the least. Counter now though by Omega, who hits his own Hurricanrana on the outside. And back in the ring we go now. O'Reilly forcing Omega back in there. These two men really going a little bit more back and forth now, but this is still O'Reilly's match far more than it has been Omega's. And with counters, continuous counters I should say, like that one, it is hard to argue against that belief. There's a counter though by Omega. There's a counter by O'Reilly. These two men go back and forth, and finally, third time's the charm. Here comes the strike of, here comes the combos of strikes and kicks by the WWE Champion. Omega in a bit of trouble here maybe, and O'Reilly gives him no time to recover. Suplex for the Intercontinental Champion to deal with. O'Reilly's got to keep his wits about him, because you never know when the champion might pop it, when the challenger even Bobby Fish might pop his nose around. Like I said, he's here, so you never know. Jawbreaker counter there by Omega. And that couldn't have been truer. Bobby Fish gets involved and suddenly the match is in the path now of Kenny Omega. Suddenly this one is going the way of the cleaner now, just because of the involvement of the challenger. Bobby Fish got involved in business that wasn't his, trying to get into the mind of the champion before this Sunday. But O'Reilly, destined to try and fight back here, taking his anger out now on Omega. The Intercontinental Champion almost tried to run for a second there. He is seriously showing fear towards O'Reilly. Back in the ring we go now. Omega got nowhere to go, and he may be in for a rough ride. And he may have Bobby Fish to blame as a result of it. Cover here by O'Reilly after it. Keeping things a little bit calm right now. Kind of surprising, to be fair. I would have thought O'Reilly would have been livid. Oh, here we go. Now he seems to be in that mindset. Here come the strikes once more. Bobby Fish caused this. Bobby Fish may be the one who has caused Kenny Omega to be in this situation, but this Sunday it will be Bobby Fish locked inside Hell in a Cell. No way to jump over the barricade and try and run away from him. No way to try and escape his clutches. He will have to go face to face with this man to try and win back that title he so dearly loves. But Omega not done yet. Omega continues to fight on here. Can Omega continue to cause a fight against the champion? That maintains to be seen. O'Reilly, Hurricanrana. What will the champion do now? I mean, he's got a perfect opportunity to end this matchup, and it's like he's not looking to do it yet. Shining Wizard by O'Reilly. That should be the lead-in, but it's not. Perhaps O'Reilly's making Bobby Fish be aware that what he tried just now didn't work. That it was all a failed attempt, and that Kenny Omega's in for a world of hurt as a result of it. Oh my goodness. Double foot stomp there. Look at this. This is just almost madness being reached right now. The Intercontinental Champion's being used as a whipping boy by O'Reilly. I never thought I'd see O'Reilly get this mad, but clearly he's got this side within him. Omega's still kicking out, but I'm not too sure if that's a wise idea at this point. Big knee in the back by O'Reilly even. Omega trying to fight back here. O'Reilly with a quick counter. Here we go now in position. Oh, what a DDT. Planted him on his head. I mean, O'Reilly's had his piece now. He's said what he needed to say. He's used his anger long enough. Save it for this Sunday. Save it for a man who deserves it. Don't take it out on Omega. This isn't worth it, O'Reilly. Just stay calm. O'Reilly, I think, is making a crucial error here now. He is beyond frustrated, and he's trying to pummel the Intercontinental Champion as a result of it. Fish is backstage. You don't have to be a man who respects the rules all the time. You can go after him. Just stop attacking Kenny Omega, for crying out loud. Omega still trying to fight on here. But for how much longer? Oh my goodness, will that be the case? Flying knee by O'Reilly. Oh please, man, just end it. This is getting tough to watch now. I don't know. I really don't know what to say anymore. This is Kyle O'Reilly at his worst. This is Kyle O'Reilly being dragged down to the depths by Bobby Fish. Seriously, Kyle, I'm being honest here. Just put the match away. Just let it be. Just stop this. I don't want to see this, O'Reilly, please. O'Reilly into the cover here. Omega's out. I don't care what anyone says. Omega's long gone. There's two. There's 3. Kyle O'Reilly thankfully wins, but Jesus Christ. Kenny Omega just got decimated because of him. Well, if this shows anything, it shows that O'Reilly is ready for this Sunday. It shows that O'Reilly will not say no, and he will not bow down to this man. The WWE, the challenger for the WWE Championship is here. Bobby Fish trying to get the jump on Kyle O'Reilly before we get things underway, before we get to No Way Out. And O'Reilly doesn't want to stand for that one. The counter by the champion. These 2 men are ready to end it all this Sunday, but it seems as if things are just continuing on as per normal tonight on SmackDown. O'Reilly doesn't seem as if he's done with Fish. He's calling him. He's calling him back. He's goading him up the steps right now to the locker room. It seems as if we're going to go backstage here, and I know this isn't exactly the best view of it all, just staring at the crowd right now. But to be fair, they're brawling so much they knocked out one of the cameramen while doing it. And here we go. We're finally going to the backstage here. We've got a camera set up in the back. Let's get to it. This one, oh, I'm not ready. And here we are, we're backstage right now, and the brawl has gone underway already. O'Reilly pummeling into Fish right now. Talking about his anger that he demonstrated against Omega. Well, it's continued on here. The champion has basically been brought to his lowest as a result of this man. Fish getting back at him. Brainbuster there on the backstage flooring. Essentially just nothing more than the concrete that is used to basically create the flooring of this arena. Nothing nice about it for these 2 men to deal with, and these 2 men are just brawling right now all throughout the back. No one's going to try and stop them, and I don't blame them in that instance. I wouldn't get in the way of this either. Let these 2 men fight. Let these 2 men kill each other, because this Sunday is going to be even worse than this. These 2 men know no boundaries, and when they're locked inside hell with nothing to stop them, they'll truly find out what it's like to have no boundaries. These 2 men are just wailing into one another right now in an attempt to just be the one standing over the other. Backstabber by Fish. Almost ironic given the man that he's hitting it on. But there's the response from Kyle O'Reilly, sending him into another locker room. These 2 men are going to continue to brawl here even after we go off the air, and we haven't got much time left. These 2 men are going to kill each other this Sunday. You cannot miss out on No Way Out. You cannot miss out on the finale between these 2 men. You owe yourself that much to pay attention to this one. These 2 men are going to kill each other for that WWE Championship. Do not miss No Way Out this Sunday. We're out of time. We've got to go. We'll see you at No Way Out.